Well, happy Friday night. I'm Aaron, and this is my awesome mom, Gloria. Thanks for being in my studio here in the Bowtie Treasure Studio. And surprise, we have a mirror frame that we're going to work on tonight. And the other half of this is in front of me over there, but for the sake of our space, we're just going to do the insert part, the part that holds the mirror. So tonight our color palette is going to be, let's see if that'll show up there, we go. The Gulf, Pure Ocean, and Rustic Red. And so we're going to work backwards. We want to basically, I think we're going to do wet distressing. So we're going to wet distress and reveal all those colors. So,
okay.
But I think we should get going.
Sure.
And I told my mom we cannot get our clothes messy. I forgot to put painting clothes on. So we got this shirt while we were in Tennessee. And so if we mess it up, I'm sending her back.
I have to buy another one.
Yes, we'll buy another one. So Mom, you want to do most of the work? I'm just going to sit and watch.
Yeah, show me how.
So Mom, let's get some 1-inch brushes. These are Dixie Belle's flat, small brushes. Let me see if it'll show up there. Sometimes my camera did. There we go. I think these are good sizes. So what we're going to try to accomplish here is when you're doing, sometimes you can cover the whole project with one color, but since we're just like revealing this, peeking it through once in a while, we really don't need to cover the whole.
Okay.
I have just maybe 1/8 of a container, just enough to touch this up. So how about we actually, and my dad's gonna work with moving the camera around. So let's flip it down so you can see what we're working on. And Mom, what we wanna do is, we just wanna put red where we think it would be showing up when we rub it off. And so all of these decorative elements, and then probably edges and corners and things like that, really, we can be messy. We do not have to push it deep in there, we just need it really to be more surface. So how about you and I, one of the things I like to do before I paint is I like to give it a little bit of mist, that way the brush doesn't soak up all the moisture out of the paint. You wouldn't do that with silk paint, but you would do it with chalk mineral paint. So I'll let you jump in there and we'll both go ahead and just put a coat on there.
And start here?
Yeah, so and one of the things that I helped my mom with on her chair was, and it was kind of fun to watch her paint. We've painted before, but the general idea was I was trying to help her understand the light touch. And but tonight we do not need a light touch. The light touch was basically when you put the paint on, when you want it smooth, you gotta take the weight off the brush. You wanna get the paint on there. But tonight, this is more just about getting, we don't want too much paint because it'll take a lot of
Do you want it in here?
It doesn't matter. We kind of want this to look like an aged mirror, like 4 or 5 people painted it over the last decade, you know? I use the word a lot of times called, we'll say layering. So tonight we're layering paint. The only way to accomplish this. I have our little Lazy Susan. Let me just look over here. Yeah, so key thing here is it's going to be like we're distressing. So we're distressing to this red. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think that's messy enough. On this one, I think we want to go ahead and get in the crevices a little bit more. At this point,
down in here.
Yeah, but we're not too worried about the high parts. So what that means is just go ahead and we're trying that this one's covering up the boss. Does that make sense? So we don't want any more gray after this. Red is okay, boss not so much. I haven't done a lot of this little just dabbing technique on projects, so I'm kind of liking it. So. All right. Really good. Yep, since we have another color, we'll call that one done. I'll put those brushes away. I'm actually rubbing, because we put the red on tonight, I'm actually rubbing down the boss, which is okay too, because now we got 3 colors show. I oftentimes let boss be a 3rd color, and I have no problem when it shows up. So let's show that on the camera, Dad, how that's coming along. So you can see how, make sure the camera gets it. There we go, just got it. So it's looking really great. And the next color is, where did I put it? Sea gloss. I just, in my table video that I did Monday on Dixie Belle's main page, I described it as every time I touch the color. Well, even tonight I said every time I touch a color I get lighter. Every time I touch a color I get less of it. So if you do that, it'll kind of give you that building up to the last layer. Let's do something a little different with brushes since I'm almost out of 1-inch brushes. For the sake of just a different texture, almost like, okay, let's say 50 years ago, somebody painted it, and 25 years ago, somebody else painted it. Well, they didn't use the same brush.
Right.
So this one, let's use the big brush, but we are going to do less.
Didn't hurt to get it wet?
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to demonstrate. I'm just going to touch the paint, okay? So we don't want as much paint as what we had before. So I don't know if you can see that. The container. So on this one, we're just going to like lightly drag it and just, I'll
Let me see.
So we're just kind of like,
See,
mine's a little wet, so mine might drag a little weird. I said no, so I need to stick to my no, right?
right.
So just like that, we can put right there.
So you want just the end.
Yeah. And I'm gonna dry my side because
Yeah.
now I'm regretting what I said. I would get it more even. It'll go straight in there. And if you ever have to, you can always just drag it on any part of my table or something just to get it to spread out a little bit. And you can go ahead and go with your flatter would be good. Just flatten the angle of the brush. Okay, when I say flat like this, you're doing this. So if you do this,
That.
it's going to be, yes. So you've got the pressure right. Oh, I got some water on. And you get the sides and the top. And front of the camera probably, but you gotta get all the things. Okay. Let's retire that color and let's get the.
So what are you gonna do now?
Let's do the rag again. But
We're rubbing it off.
yes, but the same way that we use light pressure in the little paint, we don't want to rub off as much. But we can. This is the part where you just say, let's try it. So we're just going to lightly remove some of this. Because a lot of what we did is hit the edges and the highlights and we covered up. So just try and remove some of it. Be very close to this. So you're not going to have a lot of this left. But just, I mean, you decide how much you want to. Okay. The smear technically can be done
I like that.
if we want. So now let me pull this in without you moving the camera because it doesn't like, there we go, right there. So it doesn't like to. There are a lot of options left that we can do. So you can still come back with maybe a buttercream or a white and even give it another highlight. So what do you think, Mom? You think we should bring out some of the details, leave it like it is?
I like it like it is. It's up to you.
Well, I don't
It's
think I
going
want.
in your house.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do Van Dyke glaze and make it antique-y, but I wonder if we could still bring out some of those details.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
can you, like in this case, could you use Q-tips to get rid of
You
some
could, or you can use Dixie Belle's craft brush.
where
So they're really not even turning back for this, okay? So
if you goof it, you goof
we've
it.
done all this work, but I think what we can do is we can make it so that we slowly ease into it. Does that make sense?
I'm going to watch you.
Okay, that would be fine. So I'm going to use, Dixie Belle has, if you haven't bought a set, Dixie Belle has a set of craft brushes. You can use the link in the description of the live and get that. So this is what I'm using. They've got 4 brushes in there that work really well. All right, here's what I'm going to do. Dad, if you can just keep an eye on it, make sure it's nice and crisp and sharp. Sometimes it focuses on a pant leg or my pant. But it looks like it's doing okay. So you see how I missed it first. And just put the paint where you want the shadow to be. Okay, and then I'll come back real quick. We'll just do a light mist. You need that water in order to do this right here. Without water, we could not shade it. So all I'm doing is going back and forth, feathering out that shading. And then like I did on the other one, if you want to, come back and just slightly hit those leaves to get any of that extra paint off. Maybe if Dad, you can catch this on the left and right. Here you can see on this side, I've done the shading, and on the other side I did. So it definitely pops more. So let's keep going. How about it? You want to try it?
Sure.
Sure. Let's do this corner down here. So first thing we're gonna do is just a light mist of water on it.
Just here?
Just kind of just go over it. That's it. Perfect. And we're gonna use the paint.
And just go around the curves?
Just inside, yeah, and just don't go into the high. You're just
did.
getting the color on there. You're doing great. Yep. And if you need to, push that brush like at it flat, and you can get all the way up in there. That's good. As long as it stays wet, you can move it. So you're moving kind of quickly / kind of
Slow.
purposefully, but the water's giving you that time. The chalk mineral paint has enough to it that it will hold that. But if you ever worried about it, like
Is that enough?
yeah, so that's good. So give it another mist. And there's a part right here, we got a little extra. I'm just gonna wipe that off with my finger. Now we're gonna come back, switch brush, and now you're gonna shade or blend that in. You're gonna soften all that up. So back and forth. This is not so much a light touch as much as it is make that
I'm doing
edge
it
disappear.
wrong.
You're doing great. You can go up and down, left and right. The key is to make all those brush strokes, and you want it to look like a feathery cloud when you're done. So push it, drag it, whatever you gotta do. Yep, see how you pull down there? That's good, and then just blend it out.
Okay.
And if you got too much paint, so now we're gonna come back, I'm gonna give it to you. So now you're going to erase like all the tops of the leaves, because I'm sure we got paint on there. Just a light, just get rid of any extra. Okay, and I just usually look to see if I need to get rid of any. I think we did really good. Okay?
Yeah.
So you're talking about in here.
Yeah, or even like this leaf down the middle.
I have totally done that before. Good idea. So we're just talking about getting more. I will tell you, once you start that, it's like, where do you stop? So you kind of have to choose your own road, if you will.
And just do it with the center.
Yeah. That's
I
good.
don't know.
And I'm getting to the point where I probably need to probably should stop because if you go too far, then your paint starts drying on you. But that's where I'm using the mystery bottle to keep it all wet till I get back to it. So like right here, we can put it in here, Mom, like you were saying. So however you want to add depth, go for it. So I think we're good. And then I also use my rag. Where did we put it? So I'll take my rag and I'll wipe off any excess because you will build that paint. So you see how I'm going back and forth pretty quick, but the water helps us do that. I've been working on that buffet across the room, and I just did this technique on the bottom. I didn't get to do a YouTube video for that, but I use this technique a lot to add a little bit of grunge or age to it. Okay, now we're going to wipe off any of the excess areas we don't want. And that looks like $1 million. So this is how I would shade without using glaze, and it really makes it pop. So we're going to get some drop cloth. The nice thing about drop cloth, it's not white, and well, I'm going to just add a little bit more highlight.
All right.
But I wouldn't put this all over the piece. I would just hand select. I'm not sure if that's even the right word. I would just here and there. If you like to add even more depth to it, this can do it. And you can even do it if you want to dab it to make it a little bit more natural. We did that earlier, right? How many colors did you do? 5? 5 colors.
Yeah.
You take it as far as you want. I think quite the transformation.
Right.
I hope that was helpful. Gave you guys some awesome ideas for things to try. This is really good for high detailed pieces. Well, I think that's it. Any other questions? We good?
No.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad. It's been a while since I was live Friday night. We were in Cincinnati, I was out of town, whatever. But we're back, and I don't get my mom in my studio very often, and if she's going to be here, we're going to put her to work. And anyways, I appreciate y'all staying in tonight. Pass this along. Let others know the fun we had tonight. And if you're watching a replay, let us know. Love for you to use the link in the description. That always helps us out. You know, I can feed Mom tomorrow. Right? She's like, yeah, use the link or else. Don't make me send my mom after you. Dad, thanks for doing the camera.
Very welcome.
Have a great weekend. Be creative. Say bye.
Bye.
See y'all later.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you go. Bye.